You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, and it's time now for some live Q&A. You know the drill by now. Use hashtag Cowboys. Makes it a lot easier for producer Alicia to find them. Oh, by the way, Alicia, don't be like Dylan. Bring up good questions. None of this ridiculous trying to troll me crap. We have a super chat, though, from Texas Sports Roundup, who does get a shout-out. First off, he had a super chat. That's an easy way. He also gave me a shout-out on Twitter. I did see that, my friend. Thank you very much. Everyone, be more like Texas Sports Roundup. He also knows hashtag Cowboys. Look at him. Next level thinking right there, my friend. Eric Lee. Is a change going to be made in the coaching staff if we lose on Sunday? I just don't know. If there is a loss, I think the Cowboys will at least consider it. I don't know if they are for sure going to fire Jason Garrett, but let's say they get blown out on Sunday Night Football against the Eagles, drop 4 straight, they'll consider it. So there's a chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there is a chance. Troy wants to know if we're planning a viewing party for Sunday night's game. Well, like the video. If we get to 1,000, we'll do it. Cowboys, Eagles, I want to. I know a lot of you guys want to, but make sure you like it. Otherwise, I don't know if the bosses are going to let me. We'll have to find out there, but Troy, I know you want one. I want one too, so we'll see what happens. Back to Eric Lee again here. Who on offense and defense needs to step up? Lots. I think Zeke needs to be better on the ground. Gallup cannot drop passes. The offensive line needs to step up. Frankly, let me put it this way. Who doesn't need to step up? On offense, I don't have many names for you. Pollard, because he hasn't been on the field. I don't know. Defense, all be better. I think across the board, and this is why I blame the coaching a lot too, they can all be better. Presley Mitchell, why haven't we traded yet? Well, stay tuned for a trade mailbag coming up. Look, I think the Cowboys are in wait-and-see mode. I mean, if they drop to 3-4, and let's say they do fire Jason Garrett, there's no reason to make any trades and trade 4 players. At that point, maybe you're going to trade away guys. So I don't think the Cowboys are itching to make a trade right now, especially not the same way the Rams were when they traded away 2 firsts for Jalen Ramsey. All right, Javier Gonzalez, where is our fire? That's the one thing I liked about Dez. Not saying to bring him back. I appreciate the caveat there. Look, it's fair. Look, Chris Richard has some fire. You see some fire from Dak. I think in general, the fire comes with wins, you know? If they're having success, they'll be fired up. And it's on the coaching to make sure they're always fired up and winning a lot more than they actually lose there. All right, Matt Lewis. Since our Cowboys are very limited on receivers, since Amari is our number 1 receiver, should we just go pick up Dez Bryant? He was our number 1 receiver years ago. Look, guys, you have to let go of the past sometimes. I think the Cowboys made a mistake by cutting Dez Bryant. Here's the thing. Dez Bryant is not ready to play right now. He hasn't played in an NFL game since 2017, is coming off an Achilles injury. By the time he's able to go and is in true football shape, he's in shape, but maybe not football shape, and has reacclimated to everything with the Cowboys, Amari should be back. So I don't think it makes sense. And for Dez, why come back for a team with a head coach you don't like, by the way, and then not play after a week? It just doesn't make sense for either side there. All right, Troy Daniels, can the Cowboys learn something from the Eagles' loss to the Minnesota Vikings? Minnesota went deep and often. Troy, I'm glad you bring that up, because I hinted at it earlier, but didn't really dive into it too much. The Eagles' secondary is bad. With or without Amari Cooper, this is a game that you let Dak Prescott sling that football around. If you don't air it out, if you don't take shots deep, it's coaching negligence. If we see a bunch of first and second and long runs, I'm going to be pissed. There's no reason for it with this specific matchup. Air it out. You can still run the football, but let Dak throw it. You'll have success. That's what the matchup says you should do. Take advantage of it. Benjamin Dallas, who's going to get more touchdowns, receivers or running backs? I think it's a no-brainer. It's going to be it's going to be the receivers. I mean, think about it this way, right? The first year that Dak Prescott was here, when Zeke had that fantastic year, probably his best year, still was the receivers, right? The tight ends will get a couple, the backs will get some out of the backfield, but Dak's going to throw for probably 25 plus. Most of those will go to the receivers. The backs, they'll get some, but the receivers as a unit, more likely. Michael Andrews, a super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate that here live on Facebook and on YouTube. If we cannot win with injuries, how good are we? It's a great question. Look, injuries are an excuse, but it's just that. It's an excuse, right? I mean, the Niners beat the Rams with their backup tackles. We can't beat the Jets. I mean, there's your issue, right? You shouldn't beat the Jets without them. Injuries are an excuse. It's not good enough, though. As long as Dak's healthy, and Zeke and other key players, as long as it isn't a Chargers-level injury problem, it's an issue for the coaching staff. Justin Wilson with a question that I just have a reaction to. Why haven't we seen the ball hawk Donovan Wilson? I don't know. I don't know. The coaching staff loves Jeff Heath, who's been fine this year, but I'm on board with you. I am okay with giving up a touchdown here or a touchdown there if we get turnovers. The more and more that I watch the NFL, the more and more I think that with the way the rules are today, the best path to winning games, having a good defense, is not to be bend but don't break, but to be, okay, we broke, but we turned the ball over. Taking the ball away, that's the best recipe for success as far as I'm concerned in the NFL on defense. Bo Cantor, how many times does Zeke need to handle the ball? There's no number that I have in mind. I'm on board with feeding Zeke when it makes sense, but you can't force feed Zeke. And I actually want to limit his touches, especially this week against the Eagles. Air it out. You'll have more success that way. I'm not saying don't use Zeke. I'm saying use Zeke in a smarter way. Get him on the outside. Don't just run the ball up the gut every single play. Get him on the outside. Where are the screens at? Those suddenly disappeared for no reason. Get him the ball in swing passes. The running back wheel route is undefeated. You can get the ball to Zeke. Doesn't always have to be a halfback dive. That's my biggest problem. All right, Nazjamar Jackson. What do you think about getting A.J. Green? For the cost, I don't think it makes sense. The Bengals are going to ask a lot for A.J. Green, and he's not healthy. Frankly, the last thing I want to do right now is inject another injury-prone wide receiver into this room. I don't have any interest there, and I'd just rather wait for Cooper to come back, and they'll be fine at receiver. All right, Joseph Benavidez, or Benavidez, however you say it. I'm sorry if I got it wrong, Joseph. That's my bad. Would you trade for Calvin Ridley? I would have interest. I also don't think Calvin Ridley's available. He is a young player for the Falcons. They spent a first-round pick on him. He's not been a bust. I don't think they trade him away. So, interesting idea. I don't think Atlanta has much of an interest in actually dealing him away. Now, you can maybe get Mo Sanu, but I don't have a whole lot of interest in that one either. Folks, make sure, and do me a favor here, subscribe. We know, I got the numbers right here, that 2/3 of you watch the show, but you aren't subscribed. That's weird to me. Why do you keep watching if you're not going to subscribe? Are you just a hate watcher? I don't think so. It's not what most of the comments are. So subscribe right now. The link, it is below. I'll get it in the chat for you guys as well. By the way, just hit the big red button. That is all you guys have to do. We do highlights when they win. Grades regardless. We'll mix in some film studies this year. News, mailbags right now. Heck, if you're subscribed, you saw it earlier. We're scrolling through some subscriber shout-outs on screen as well. Benjamin Tellis wants to know, where has Sean Lee been? If you've watched the show for a while, you know this about me. I love Sean Lee. I am a huge fan of his. I have loved him for a long time. He's not the same guy anymore. He's lost a step. I think he's at about his end as an NFL player. He's been healthy. He was properly relegated to the number 3 linebacker role. I think it's time for another demotion. Joe Thomas has outplayed Sean Lee. Get Joe Thomas on the field more. I think that's the correct decision there for Sean Lee. Let him be a coach on the field or on the sideline. He's just not that effective anymore. He's missing tackles that he never used to miss. That's a big concern for me. Jojo Jacobs, what happened to the tandem backfield with number 20, number 21? They lost it. I think what happened is the Cowboys had like a little written list of here's good play number 1, here's good play number 2, here's good play number 3, and somewhere on the trip down to New Orleans, they lost it, and they don't remember anymore. Because it's the only explanation of how the pre-snap motion has declined and the play action has gone away, and using Blake Jarwin, Tony Pollard is now no longer in the game plan. It doesn't make any sense to me. We've seen the good things, and then suddenly they're just not there anymore. It's all very confusing, and hopefully it changes this week against the Philadelphia Eagles, or I'm going to be big mad on Twitter and on the live shows. Joseph Briddell, hey Tom, what do you think about the claims about Zeke regressing? I mean, it's not that Zeke is bad right now, right? No one, I think, is making that argument. We agree he is a good player, but he's not been the number 1 back in the NFL. I think part of it is they're not using Zeke correctly. I don't just want runs up the middle. I don't want 12 personnel halfback dive. I want him to be involved in the passing game. He's a good player. But when we extended Zeke Elliott, the point I wanted to make, and I think I got it across, I hope I did, is that, hey, I don't want Zeke to get run into the ground. I want to use him in not a full-fledged rotation, but let's use him smartly. It doesn't have to be 28 carries under the assumption that 30 carries equals an auto win. That's not a thing. So my hope is that the Cowboys will use Zeke more in space. Get the ball in screens, on swings. You don't have to just lean on Zeke up the middle. The best way to have success in the NFL is take your talented players. Don't lean on them to be great. Instead, set them up creatively so that a average player looks good, a good player looks great, and a great player is unstoppable. Make your scheme set up in a way that it's easier on your actual players. That's just my mindset. I think most of us agree here. What happens with Garrett if Philly blows the door off? Doors off the Cowboys, I should say. If that happens, I think you see Jerry Jones not looking happy during the game. And I think at that point, I think you might see a change at the head coaching spot. I think that is a possibility here for the Dallas Cowboys. Like, if the Cowboys get their butts kicked by Philadelphia, it will have been 4 straight losses. You are now behind in the NFC East standings, and it's been a disaster so far. If that happens, like, the Cowboys have to make a change. Now, maybe it happens week 9, week 10, when they're officially eliminated from the playoffs here, but I think that if the Eagles come into Dallas, and for the 4th straight week, the Cowboys get their butts kicked, they fall asleep in the first half, they make a little rally, and they come up short again, we're all going to be on the same page. It's fire Garrett. And if that's what you want, let me know. Type FG in the comments section, fire Garrett, or KG for keep Garrett. Now, I think this might be a game where the Cowboys win and they save Jason Garrett's job like they did last year and a couple of times before. But if they lose again, you have to make a change. You have to. There's no way you can justify a 3-0 team falling to 3-4 in a must-win season for Jason Garrett. At that point, I'm out. No reason to give Garrett another chance. He's had too many. I say fire Garrett at that point. I see some KGs in there. That's fine. I do see mostly FGs. Keep those fire Garretts coming, or the keep Garretts coming. I appreciate it. But I do want to tell you guys that I'm rocking a Kashiyama suit. You can get one too. Go email them. Dallas@Kashiyama1927.com. That's their email. Dallas@Kashiyama1927.com. It's a nice custom fitted suit. It gets hot here in Dallas. It's cooling down, which I appreciate. But it gets hot here in the summer. You still got to wear suits to, functions, important functions, and when people are getting married and all that. Have a nice, sleek, and a cool one from Kashiyama. Dallas@Kashiyama1927.com. Eric Lee, did the Cowboys make a mistake in extending DeMarcus Lawrence? I don't think so. I'm on board that DeMarcus Lawrence has not been as good as I hoped, as I wanted, as I expected. At the same time, again, let's kind of adjust our expectations and adjust the lens with through we look at stuff. It's not all about sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence has not been bad this year. He hasn't been what we're paying him to be, but he's still been a good player for the Dallas Cowboys, especially against the run. He's been one of the few good run defenders, and he's still generating pressure and drawing attention. And if you're all about sacks, I get that. It's not the best way to go about it, but I get that. Go ask Chiefs fans with Frank Clark, or Browns fans with Olivier Vernon, or Lions fans with Trey Flowers, or the Seahawks with Jadeveon Clowney. All those players who are either signed or traded for this offseason have not been as good as DeMarcus Lawrence, even just in the sack totals. So I know it's been a disappointment so far, but I'm not freaking out about DeMarcus Lawrence. Frankly, there are a lot bigger issues on this defense. And DeMarcus Lawrence might be one of them, but he's not at the top or even close to it. All right, T Phoenix 455. Any chance at all of trading for a tight end before the deadline? I'd say there's a chance of it. I think for the trade deadline in particular, let's check in after this week. I think from the Cowboys' mindset overall is, hey, Jason, we were a playoff team last year. At worst, we're the same team we were last year. So if you can't do it with this team, why should we give you extra players and trade away future draft picks? I don't think that's how the Cowboys are going to go about it. I'd say there is a chance. But if O.J. Howard's not there, I'm just not all that interested. All right, for the truth, JC4 ever. Will we see Tavon Austin more this week? Well, if Amari Cooper can't go and Randall Cobb's out, or even just one of those guys is out, yes, you will see more Tavon Austin. Let me pull up his snap counts here from just this past week. He was averaging somewhere in the, at most, 20 in that range. He played 76 last week against the Jets. So yes, if one of the receivers are out, Tavon Austin is indeed the next man up. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.